Good evening. Welcome to this session of the Canfield School Board. I would like to say thank you all for coming tonight. We have some very special guests that we will get to in a minute, so thank you all. Look forward to that. May I have roll call, please?
Mrs. DeCapua, President.
Here.
Mr. Atway, Vice President.
Here.
Mr. Campbell.
Here.
Mrs. Kluchar.
Here.
Mr. Wilkeson.
Like, please stand and pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, we are going to defer to our principals who have special presentations this evening. Mr. Moldovan. It's on.
Come on up, Jackie. We're very excited at Canfield High School to honor our first Rotary Student of the Month for October, I believe this is, so we're going back. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce to the board and everybody out there our Student of the Month, and her name is Jackie Palusek. And she is the daughter of Jeff and Julie, who are in the front row here. Say hello, take a little wave there, there we go. And the sister's here too, we're excited to have her. Jackie's a senior at Canfield High School, and I just want to read a couple of things. She was nominated by some staff members, and a couple of things that they wrote about her. The one staff member said, "It's a pleasure to nominate Jackie Palusek for this award. She's always been extremely motivated, talented, and polite. Academically, she's risen to the top of her class, excelling academically while taking a very demanding course load. She has an outstanding 4.381 GPA. She serves her school in a variety of ways: president of the National Honor Society, senior class officer. She's a very successful, competitive dancer outside of school, and also finds time to be the captain of the Canfield swim team, which is very, very demanding. She volunteers at the attendance desk. It says here she's a true campus leader. One staff member characterized her as a ball of energy and a ray of sunshine. And having known Jackie now, she is extraordinarily charismatic. She has the respect of her peers and of the staff, and we're very, very excited to present her as the Canfield High School Rotary Student of the Month for October. Her favorite subject in school is math. Her parents and her sister have a 4-month-old cat, which is exciting. She puts down here, and if you're a cat person, that's an exciting thing. They love to spend time together, and they love to travel together, which is really, really great. She hopes to pursue a career in medicine, finding interested in the fields of pediatrics, neurology, and cardiology. She loves to swim, and again, she's the captain of the swim and dive team, and she is just one of the most outstanding. I've been in Canfield for 22 years, and she's right at the top. So, Jackie, congratulations for the Canfield Rotary Student of the Month for October.
Congratulations, Jackie. Mr. Maroney.
Good evening. When Mr. Rubin and I began to discuss our first ever Rotary Student of the Month, we almost instantly thought of the same name, and that's Ashley Obel. Ashley is a model student at the middle school, an outstanding example of everything that's good about our school. Ashley's favorite subject in school is history. Good choice. As a former social studies teacher, I will agree with that. But she's a stellar student in all of her classes. She hopes to become a dermatologist or work in the fashion industry someday, and she always is the model of fashion. Her dream is to visit Paris, France, and she describes herself as a very happy person who loves to sing, and I will double down on that. She's always happy. Ashley's here tonight with her parents, Steve and Jeannie Obel. She has a sister, Dylan, who is a junior at Canfield High School, and a cat named Lily. I've known Ashley since she was a student at Hilltop, and I have never seen her without a smile on her face or just pleasant to be around. She's truly an awesome young lady. So it is my pleasure to introduce Ashley Abel as CVMS's first Rotary Student of the Month for October 2021.
Congratulations, Ashley.
Congratulations.
You're very welcome. Mr. Lavery.
Good evening. My name is Travis Lavery. I'm the principal at C.H. Campbell Elementary School. And when we first started looking at a Rotary Student of the Month, we had multiple nominations come in for this young man right here, Moses Mashkaba. One of the teachers wrote, "Moses is such an admirable and beautiful young man. He displays kindness towards his classmates, always. He shows support and help to others who may be struggling. He shines with such a tender heart towards his classmates and is the first one to choose the partner that may not easily find one. Moses cares so deeply about performing at his best, where he truly knows his job as a learner. He's a positive example for his peers. He is a true friend. He is a wonderful leader and a beautiful gentleman at all times. She feels so very blessed to have him in her classroom, and he is truly a gift." We had a second nomination come in as well, and there were some strings that tied these two together. From one of our playground aides, they wrote, "Moses is a great role model at recess. He follows the rules, sets good examples, shows empathy towards others, and is always offering to help his classmates and the recess aides during recess. He includes others in the activities he's involved in, and is the first to ask another student to join him, especially when he sees them sitting on the buddy bench. Moses shows kindness, friendship, and generosity every day at recess here at C.H. Campbell." Moses' favorite subject at CH is math. He finds it very interesting and said his favorite strategies include area models and expanded form distributive property, but he also enjoys fractions, story problems, and the Bridges challenges that they throw at him as well. He is here with his family, his mom and dad, his twin sister, Sumaya, his two brothers, and he has a big sister as well. His future plans involve becoming an endocrinologist, a doctor who trains and specializes in treating diabetes, so he can help children. He also wants to visit Johns Hopkins University, and in addition to that, visit his grandmother and grandfather in Jordan. He likes playing soccer, basketball, kickball, drawing pictures for his family and friends, and he wanted to add in there that he wanted to thank Canfield Schools for helping him change into the person that he is today and giving him the opportunities to show what he can become. Very excited to introduce Moses Mashkaba as our October Rotary Student of the Month. Congratulations, Moses. You
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Moses. Great job. Mr. Flood.
Mike Flood, Principal of Hilltop. It's my pleasure. George Fiffick. I went to my teachers and say, we need to name someone. And without hesitation, my fourth grade teachers turned around, said, we need to get George, And I'm pleased to say I'm proud that he's going to be our first Rotary Student of the Month. He's a model student. I go back to last year where Mrs. Ruber couldn't talk more highly of him. And she's very excited, came to me, can't wait to watch him get this award. Mrs. Cackley, again, this year, his fourth grade teacher, just kept on talking so highly of George, how he leads by example, how he makes everyone just welcome. And if someone's sitting by themselves, he brings them over, gets them involved. So we're very proud of you, George. George, he loves math. I know Mr. Knoll, another as a math teacher. But he does have two sisters. His mom and dad, Chandler, who's a big part of the PTA. She's in our building a lot. George is the father. And, in the picture, I did share a picture with you because my fourth graders love teasing me right now. They know I'm a Notre Dame fan. and I'm a Browns fan, so he had the pleasure of wearing a Steelers fan jersey when I took his pictures. So they love tease me with that. But George is a pleasure, and we're proud of him and excited what he's going to do in the future. So congratulations, George.
Congratulations, George.
I just want to give a shout out to my fellow Rotarians. I approached them a couple months back. I said, hey, I got this really neat idea. And that's all I need to say. And the Rotary was in to sponsor a student of the month every month. We're going to do this hopefully for a lot more years ahead. Our kids are going to be invited Friday to a luncheon at the Rotary. So their principal and I are going to go. We're going to get a nice lunch, get recognized again in front of all the folks from the Rotary. So this is an awesome group. This is going to be hard to beat the first month. It's going to be hard. But congratulations to all of them. Well done.
And I just wanted to say to Jackie, Ashley, Moses, and George, to be the first is something special, and we are so proud to have you here, and we are so proud that you are the students that you are here in the Canfield School District. So again, congratulations to you and to your families. Have a wonderful evening. At this time,
They can be dismissed.
you can be dismissed. It is your call, but I know it's a school night.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to present the minutes from October 13th and 27th. The 13th was a regular meeting, 27th was a special meeting. We did receive the minutes ahead of time, did review if there was anything that needed changed at that time. It was. So at this time, I would like to have a motion to approve those two sets of minutes.
So moved. Atway.
Campbell seconds.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mrs. DeCapua?
Yes. Okay, at this time, I'm going to pass the torch to Patty Prince, our treasurer, for her report.
I just have a couple comments tonight on the September and October reports. On page 2 of the check payment register, on both sets of reports, you'll notice check to Ohio Edison, one for $32,000, one for $28,000. Just wanted to comment, that's a typical monthly payment for us, but I was meeting with our electric supplier today. Our contract is up in January, and he gave me a new price, and he said it's in the range of 25 to 30% increase. And I think that's what we're seeing in a lot of areas, that's going to impact our budget in the short term, I guess, and long term as well. But just wanted to make you aware of that. We are going to be getting other quotes. That's one thing that's on the horizon right now. Also, investments, the two investment reports, again, we still only have money in the money market account and Star Ohio, and the rates are less than 1%. And I don't see that changing in the near future either, which is unfortunate because we are losing a lot of investment income that we used to get in the past. I really don't have any other comments, just mostly startup costs that we paid in September and October to start up the year. If you have any questions, I'm happy to entertain them.
Ms. Prince, do we have anything that we should be aware of coming up in the next month or two?
I'm sorry, what?
Any other big ticket items that we need to be aware of coming up in the next few months?
One thing, I do need to set a meeting of the Finance Committee, but one of our members isn't here tonight, to review the 5-year forecast, which is due at the end of this month.
Okay.
So the committee needs to meet ahead of time. I don't know if we want to set a date and then ask Dave, or, so that's coming up,
Okay.
Tracy.
That has to happen by when?
It has to be
Before the
sent
end of the year,
in
right?
by the 30th, and then we'll approve it at the December meeting, but the committee needs to meet
So,
prior to me filing it.
okay.
On the 30th.
I can reach out to both the committee members if you'd like me to,
Okay.
and get that scheduled for you.
That's fine. My only quick question is, how long was our contract for the electric rates that we have?
This last one was
Yeah.
just a 2-year.
2 year?
The one previous to that was a 10-year. So,
So
I'm sorry we didn't lock in
Yeah, right? That's
longer.
Well, that was gonna be my question. What's the minimum that they want us to lock in, just because if rates were to shoot up and they happen to level off, I don't,
They gave me a 1-year, a 2-year, a 3-year, a
Okay.
4-year quote.
okay.
So it's kind of, do you just, ride the market and,
Yeah,
or do you lock in, and
yeah.
it's different philosophies there. I want to wait and see what some of the other quotes look like as well.
Yeah,
I think the average is right around 3 years. I mean, with other things that I've dealt with, but I don't know.
yeah. Hindsight's always. Thank you, Patty.
Anyone else? Okay, then, Patty, do we have any public participation this evening?
I will have to go check, but we do need a motion to
Oh, I'm so
approve
sorry.
the
Yes,
reports.
may I have a motion to approve the treasurer's reports for the months of September and October?
So moved.
I can second.
Any discussion? Excuse me, may I have roll call, please?
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Klucher?
Yes.
Mrs. DeCapua?
Yes. Let me just give it 1 second to get our book
When I
here.
passed by, there was nobody but
Yeah,
Okay.
good.
Okay.
that had signed in.
Thank you, Mr. Vito. No?
Public? Thank you.
None?
Okay, we don't have anyone from the public speaking this evening, so we will move on to our student resolutions.
Can I have the resolutions?
They were being passed down to be signed
Started
in
on
the
that side.
red.
Oh, Mr. Campbell, you got them?
I got them, I'm finished with them, but do you want the, you just need the list.
I'm so sorry. Thank you so very much. Okay, our student resolutions for this evening. Volleyball, whereas Abby Householder was named first team All-AAC in volleyball, first team All-District, AAC Player of the Year, and Division I District Player of the Year. Whereas Parker Wilkins was named first team All-AAC in volleyball and first team All-Districts. Whereas Allie Quirk was named first team All-AAC in volleyball. And girls tennis, whereas Amelia Francisco was named first team All-AAC in girls tennis, and whereas Whitney Miller was named first team All-AAC in girls tennis. Girls soccer, whereas Sabrina Goodrich was named first team All-District in girls soccer, whereas Allie Malinky was named first team All-AAC and first team All-District in girls soccer, and was AAC Player of the Year. And whereas Laura Yeoman was named first team All-AAC and first team All-District in girls soccer. Whereas Addie Masters was named first team All-County in girls soccer. Whereas Lena Atway was named first team All-County in girls soccer. And whereas Hannah Wahib was named first team All-Girls, All-County in girls soccer. And whereas the Canfield High girls soccer team earned the title AAC champs and sectional champs. And whereas the girls soccer team has displayed good sportsmanship in addition to outstanding athletic ability throughout the 2021-2022 season. Boys cross country, whereas Nick Plant was named first team All-AAC in boys cross country and was a state qualifier and All-State 2021. Whereas Blake Baker was named first team All-AAC in boys cross country and was a state qualifier. Whereas Cameron Burnett was named first team All-AAC in boys cross country. Whereas Ronnie Sinkovich was named first team All-AAC in boys cross country. Whereas, whereas Jake Yurchison was named first team All-AAC in boys cross country. And whereas Ryan Bennett was named first team All-AAC in boys cross country. Whereas Scott Crawford was named first team All-AAC in boys cross country. Whereas Jack Cadillac was named first team All-AAC in boys cross country. Whereas Jason Hammer was named first team All-OC in boys cross country. And whereas Jason Dangle was named first team All-AAC in boys cross country. Boys soccer, whereas Zach Ahmed was named first team All-AAC and first team All-District in boys soccer. Whereas Ibrahim Barakat was named first team All-AAC and first team All-District in boys soccer. Whereas the Canfield High School boys soccer team earned the titles District Champs, Regional Champs, and 2021 Sectional Champs. And whereas the boys soccer team has displayed good sportsmanship in addition to outstanding athletic ability throughout the 2021-2022 season. Girls golf, whereas Jackie Kinnick was named first team All-AAC in girls golf, whereas Jocelyn Zhao was named first team All-AAC in girls golf, whereas the Canfield High School girls golf team was named AAC champions, and whereas the girls golf team has displayed good sportsmanship in addition to outstanding athletic ability throughout the 2021-2022 season. Boys golf, whereas Connor Daggett was named first team All-AAC in boys golf, and whereas Bryce Daggett was named first team All-AAC in boys golf. And whereas these accomplishments brought honor to themselves, their families, and their school. Therefore, be it resolved that these students be commended for their outstanding accomplishments, and that these resolutions be spread upon the official minutes of the Canfield Board of Education, and that copies be presented to them.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to all of these outstanding athletic performances and teams. Season, couldn't have asked for better seasons. It's been phenomenal, phenomenal seasons. And we will get each and every one of those resolutions to you. May I have a motion to accept the resolutions as read?
So moved, Campbell.
I can second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mrs. DeCapua?
Yes. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Knoll to give us a recap on the last few days.
Yes, so we had a group of us go down to Capitol Conference, and I just asked that you maybe pick a session or two that you wanted to maybe talk about, some of the key points. I'll go first. How about that?
Oh, that's always
The one I picked was the district mental health plan that a school put together. I was obviously intrigued with everything going on in our district theme of every cardinal counts, and my heart and passion for that. First of all, it was nice to hear another district saying and doing some of the things that we're doing here in Canfield. It always makes you feel good, like you're not the crazy guy out there, doing some things. But some of the things that they highlighted, they have a 3-tier approach, which Mr. Biddle, this is right up his alley, with PBIS being number 1. They talked a lot about professional development for their teachers, such as the red flags training we just did, the mental health first aid training, which we completed as well, which, like I said, made me feel good like we're on the right track. Tier 2 being targeting students that have needs, and then obviously Tier 3 being the intensive needs and being able to deal with those. They talked about bringing in extra counseling help, which, as you all know, you guys blessed us doing that this year, an outside agency and another counselor as well, so I was glad to hear that. They talked a lot about programming, a lot of the things that we did as well, like started with Hello Week, a lot of those types of things. They mentioned a program that I actually know that's not here in Canfield yet called ROX, R-O-X. And I'm hoping to talk a little bit more about that here in the near future. So that was my session. I wanted to highlight mental health plan. So anybody want to go next?
Mr. Campbell, you're up.
All right, I'm gonna go. There were several that stuck out to me, but the one that probably made the biggest impact was from Mayfield High School. And their presentation was called The Evolution of Personalization, and it was about personalizing each high school student and making it a personalized schedule. They gave some surveys starting back in 2012 and ran it all the way to 2015, and they got some pretty interesting feedback from their former students, and 70% of those students that were surveyed said that they were technically not prepared to properly have time management in their life. So even the students that were successful as far as what they did after high school, they just felt like they were missing that component from their high school education, time management, and so forth. And so they came up with the administrative staff, they got feedback from parents, obviously students, teachers, and they really looked at their schedule and the amount of course offerings they offer, the actual bell schedule, block schedule, just how they did high school scheduling. And they came to a couple conclusions. They wanted students to have more of a impact on what their schedule was, and it wasn't just simply choosing, I want to take AP history or advanced algebra or whatever the case may be, but even within their schedule. So they came up with 4 different options for kids. One was traditional, that's the standard, enough said. One was self-paced, which was pretty interesting because it allowed students to take classes for 3 days out of the 5-day school week, where those other 2 days they can either choose to go to class and get additional instruction from that particular teacher, but also if they felt like they needed to put in more time to work on projects in another class, there was areas in the school which was obviously supervised by another teacher or a parapro or a coach or something like that, where they can gauge how much time they're putting in to their schoolwork. Obviously, they might focus on a big essay that they have in a language arts class, or they may put in time, a big math test coming up. So it was pretty interesting to hear about that self-paced. There was one called cross-curricular, and the last one was the option. And with that cross-curricular, they were doing a lot of team teaching in that schedule, where English would be paired with a government teacher, and they would, co-teach and cross-curricular teach there. And then the option was very, very out of the box, so to speak. A lot of it dealt with job opportunities and internships early in that senior year. The creativity is, there's a ton of, I could talk probably for an hour and show you the PowerPoint that they had, and I know no one probably wants that right now, but, and it's been a work in progress. So they started this new learning modality concept with their scheduling back in 2018, and then they took baby steps, and now they're really excited with where they're at as a high school. This year, they offer over, 135 electives, and it's just it's a very dynamic schedule. You have, I think, 1,200 or so students in that high school, and they're all on different, like my jaw was dropped, and it was craziness, and there's, they talked about how it was a major process, and how, it wasn't just something that happened overnight or over the course of one summer, but it was really cool, because it really delved into the learning of truly each individual student, and our theme is every cardinal counts. Their theme was every student every day, which was, I thought, pretty cool. So I'm hoping to maybe get some time and go up there and check it out in person. Focus on curriculum. So.
Mr. Atwood?
Me? All right, so this was my first live OSBA, so that was a great experience, and I tried to follow a theme, being on building and grounds in the finance committee, so a lot of what I attended was in regards to capital improvements and building assessment and needs, and there were a lot of good common themes, and I think the biggest theme that made me feel better is there are a lot of high school buildings and middle school, elementary school buildings built before the 70s in the state of Ohio, so we're not in the same boat. We're all in the same boat, I guess a lot of us are, relative to some of the school districts. But some are ahead of us in regards to upgrading, but just looking at options and designs and trying to understand, I think the big theme is taking no action is action. And so there is a need from an assessment perspective and to expedite, that process, and I think Mr. Knoll will be able to address that later on today. But some of the interesting points of just building design that I sat in and some of the school districts and what they've done is the advancement of the teaching scope and how, you know, you modernize your buildings, and some buildings were designed strictly for project-based learning, which I really was not familiar with until I listened to, I think, Wentwood Schools and their presentation. But all of their schools from K through 12 were designed in that scope. And it doesn't mean that's something we would have to evaluate, but it's just interesting to see how different districts are approaching their learning models. So, and then the other piece of that is just looking at one little fact that resonated is if you take action now on some sort of renovation, $1 invested now saves you $4 long-term. So if we stall and don't fix things that need fixed, it doesn't behoove us to do that. And I think if, you know, there's a definite need for taking action sooner than later on certain components of school buildings. And, you know, I guess I could go on, but I'll keep it succinct and to the point. But I'm glad we're engaged in evaluating, you know, the Canfield School District needs and trying to map out a plan going forward.
Mr. Ditto?
They wisely didn't give me a microphone.
Oh, well, you could use mine. I could give this one to you if you want. Here, you want to come sit over here? Here, this one.
Switch seats.
So my favorite session was one on goal setting and continuous improvement. And what I took mostly from there is that the group talked about how some folks in their goals focus on a strict timeline as opposed to implementing with fidelity and depth. And they emphasized how it's important to worry more about the implementation fidelity than the timeline. But they also gave a scorecard, which was helpful to evaluate how a district evaluates their progress on their goals, which is something I think I can implement. So that was helpful. But I think honestly the most helpful part was getting to know some of the board members better. That was probably my favorite part of the trip.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Prince? Did you have a favorite session?
I didn't know I was going to have to report out tonight. I kind of tag teamed with Mr. Atway on the facilities and financing of those. I think what's interesting for me down there is sharing with other treasurers and other districts and finding out what they're doing. But the one session we were in, and they were talking about their revenue stream, well, it involved shale money, and you know, it's interesting how different districts have different sources of revenue and how we're all kind of the same. We're all very different in the, you know, our sources of money that we receive. But again, I would agree with John, the getting to know each other better and the camaraderie, not just our board, but other districts, treasurers, so you have people you can reach out to and talk to. Is the biggest asset for me, and especially the November conference is really geared more toward board members, I feel, than treasurers. We have our annual conference in April, which is a little more technical, so the bonding part of it is much more important in November for me.
Thank you. For me, I chose a couple hot topic. Hot topic seems to be that's surfacing now. One was social justice and equity in action. It was a very impressive seminar. Learned quite a bit in that, as well as I did take one that was speech, basically the regulation of political speech by students and teachers. So those are a couple hot button topics that we're seeing more and more. You know, what we can and what we can't do to regulate speech by students, by teachers. It's actually, believe it or not, easier to regulate teachers than students. At least that is what they tell me. Context definitely matters and how it relates to political entities and issues. And we basically have 4 ways to regulate. And that would be, if it's disruptive to the school environment, to the school setting, then yes, we can regulate that form of speech. The context matters. You know, if it's confrontation, harassment, belittling, demeaning, yes, we can regulate that speech. If the student is inferring that their opinion is the district's opinion, then yes, we can regulate that speech as well. And obviously, if it's lewd, vulgar, obscene, indecent, we do have the right to regulate that speech. If it's a true threat or fighting words, again, those are the four reasons that we can step in to regulate speech by students. Employee speech is basically, it's a code of conduct within our school. So that's pretty much cut and dry. So that was one, and I know that comes up a lot, especially with election time and things like that. And the social justice and equity was just an outstanding seminar led by the the Cincinnati Public Schools. It was very, very, very well done. And that's about what I have.
Good. Well, thanks for sharing. Appreciate that. Good couple of days.
It was. Okay, Mr. Knoll,
All right.
on to our
So
new
let's do some
business.
Personnel. So under hiring, I'd like to recommend a licensed daily substitute for the 21-22 school year at $100 a day, effective October 22 of 2021. That would be Justin Kim for State High School. I'd like to recommend approving classified subs, pending their background checks, Rhiannon Brinko and Dale Cavezzo under exhibit number 2. And also I'd like to recommend the hiring of all of our extracurriculars, those found in exhibit number 3. So all that as presented.
Okay, excuse me. May I have a motion to approve the hiring of personnel, licensed, daily substitutes, classified substitutes, and our extracurricular hiring, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on this? Roll call, please?
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell? Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mrs. DeCapua?
Yes.
I'd also like to recommend the adoption of the policies as a second reading found in exhibit number 4.
These policies were first read and reviewed at our last meeting by the policy committee. And so we go through 2 readings. So this is our second reading, our final reading, and now we will be voting on those policies. So may I have a motion to adopt those policies as seen in Exhibit 4, please?
So moved.
Campbell seconds.
Any discussions? I think we had our discussion at our first reading. Any roll call, please?
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mrs. DeCapua?
Yes.
I'd like to recommend approval for out-of-state and overnight field trips. Varsity baseball going to Perrysburg and Oregon, Ohio, April 1st and 2nd, to participate in the baseball tournament. Provides transportation and lodging were funded by an outside source. And also varsity baseball team to Myrtle Beach, April 16th to the 23rd for team building, providing transportation and lodging are funded by an outside source.
Based on the recommendation of our superintendent, may I have a motion to approve our out-of-state overnight field trips for the baseball team?
So move. Campbell.
Second.
Any discussion on this? Roll call?
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mrs. DeCapua?
Yes.
I'd like to recommend the adoption of amended resolution number 14-2022, declaring transportation impractical for students as listed in exhibit number 6.
May I have a motion to adopt the amended resolution 14-2022 as seen in Exhibit 6?
So moved.
Campbell seconds.
Any discussion, please? Roll call?
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mrs. DeCapua?
Yes.
Mr. Treasurer, want to take the donations for us?
Sure. Donations this evening, True North Energy LLC, $567.01 for just the district general fund. Youngstown Area Jewish Foundation, $2,000 for middle school sensory room. Ohio Pile Prince, Inc., $22.54, high school principals fund. Kevin and Deborah Antall, $100 CHS Art Club. Total cash donations for November's meeting, $2,689.55.
At this time, may I have a motion to accept donations as presented by our treasurer?
So moved.
Campbell seconds.
Discussion. May I have roll call, please?
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mrs. DeCapua?
Yes. At this time, I will turn it over to Mr. Knoll for the superintendent's report.
So just a couple of things. Hopefully you got my phone call and my text about 5 o'clock or so. Tomorrow's one of my favorite days. It's Veterans Day, and obviously we're going to wear red, white, blue across the district. We have a lot of activities in the buildings. Like I said, I've talked out loud before about teachable moments. As an administrator, superintendent, we don't always get a lot of those. But tomorrow is what I call the teachable moment. We're gonna talk to our kids, K-12, about service and sacrifice of our veterans. So, for example, over at CH, our second graders have a real nice performance that's been recorded. They're gonna be playing for everybody over there at CH about 9 o'clock. Over at Hilltop, they have a guest speaker named Derek Young, and it was pretty cool how they did it. It was recorded. Mr. Young is there. The kids ask questions and they go back and forth. So that was recorded, and they're gonna play that about 9 o'clock as well. And then they have a nice PowerPoint of community members from Hilltop that are in the service as well. At the middle school, they also have a virtual assembly put together. They're gonna show it about 9:30 to everybody. Multiple speakers were selected to share their thoughts. Allegedly, I was one, okay, as a guest speaker. Basically, the prompt is, why is it important to talk to our young people about Veterans Day and about service and sacrifice? So I shared the story about my dad, who was a World War II veteran. And then they're also doing a letter writing campaign to veterans as well, which would be pretty neat. Here at the high school, actually, tomorrow at 8 a.m., there'll be an assembly here. The band and choir will be highlighted. And then a good friend of mine I've met since my time here at Canfield, Colonel Chuck Coleman, will be our guest speaker. So a big day tomorrow, recognizing our veterans here in the district. Mr. Atway alluded to facilities. I just wanted to give our community that's watching us online a little update on where we're at. We have formed a committee here in Canfield to talk about facilities. And a couple of the board members sit on it, Mr. Stack out there, myself. A good cross-section of people, forget about Doc down here, a good cross-section of people have joined us. And it's been a pretty tough task. Like, we know what the needs are, but what's our movement? What's the game plan? So we have brought that group to a consensus that it's time to talk about a pre-K-8 building. And then basically this building here at the high school, look at renovations to see if we can get another 20 years out of this building. The board's made it clear that we're interested in a campus type of environment one day. So the pre-K building would be built on a campus that at one point, whenever that day would come, we would put the high school on that site as well. So we're looking for about 100 acres to be able to pull that off. So those conversations are happening now as we speak. But this group's done a great job. We've had about 4 meetings, another one coming up next Monday to try to start putting some more things together. But it's exciting, and it's time. It's time in Canfield to get moving. So, Mr. Atway, I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to add.
No, I mean, all I'll say is just after attending OSBA conferences, and, it's exciting to have the committee like Dr. Alquist and Scott that are in attendance today, and hearing the community feedback and where we're at with looking at a K-8 plus renovations of the high school. Some people might ask, why would we look at putting money into the high school if long-term we want a campus? But, when you look at a master plan, which I'm hoping we'll be able to spell out as a group, and listening to what they've said in regards to taking no action at rehabbing buildings that need repair, will just do detriment long-term. So there's going to be a need to invest in some of the current structures that we have to maintain them over a long time span, and that's why that would have to occur. So we're definitely doing due diligence, and I think the community is very engaged in helping us thus far.
And more information to come.
Absolutely.
We'll be making sure we pass that on. So the COVID update for today, we had one middle school positive. We haven't had a middle school kid in a while, which has been good, but we do have one today. And then Mr. Wilkinson, I believe, sent a little text out about our December board meeting.
Correct.
And I didn't know if you
Correct.
wanted to talk about the date for that, or how you want that to work, Mr. Captain.
Well, excuse me, we are looking, let's see,
Because I have, what, December 8th, right?
December, that would be our
Yeah.
regularly scheduled
Right.
meeting. And I know Mr. Wilkerson will be out of town. We are looking to move that, wanted to get the feel for the rest of you, if that's an option or not. I think we'd probably be looking at the 15th.
Yeah, I don't think we can go
Yeah,
later.
we can't really go later,
Yeah.
and I really don't want to go earlier.
No.
So
So,
it's looking like the 15th. What, does that work for you, Mrs. Kluchar? Does that work for you, the 15th, if we move that December?
We have a concert in here that night, so we'll have to move to a different area. We can make that work.
We could, yes,
We can go back to the board office,
Mr. Vitta,
I'm good.
Mr. Atlee?
December 15th.
yeah, I can do the 15th. So.
Okay, then we'll set that.
Okay, sounds good.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Same time, different place.
In different place, yeah.
Unless we're quick, it starts at 7.
You gotta be pushing, no,
I'd
we're
have to
good,
push
we're
it.
good, we're not doing that to them, no, no way. Okay, so December 15th at 6 it is, and, place to be announced,
That'd be fine.
okay. Anything else, Mr. Knoll?
Can I add something?
Absolutely.
Regarding Veterans Day, I'm sure most people know, I don't know if they do, but I work over at the Career and Technical Center. We have a great restaurant that one of our programs, the culinary arts students, maintain and use. And we wanted to offer up to any Canfield resident that's a veteran, a free lunch for them, that they could come any day that we're open, and there's dates on these cards here. They can come out if they're a veteran or somebody knows of a veteran in Canfield, a lunch on us, and it just, it's a special card, so I'll give them to you, maybe you
Yeah,
can
we can
hand them out as you see fit
Yeah.
throughout the next,
That'd be
it's not,
great.
they don't have to come out tomorrow on Veterans Day, 'cause there's a lot going on,
Yep.
I'm sure, but just wanna offer it up officially to, the Canfield community that are veterans, 'cause we appreciate what you do.
That's great.
Thanks,
Great.
Mr. Campbell, that's awesome, and please, our thanks to MCCTC as well.
Do you need a motion?
Anything else? No? Okay. So at this time, excuse me, we will be entering executive session to consider the purchase of property. We will be coming out, I can't tell you when, but there will be no, it's just discussion, so there will be no action, let's put it that way, no action, just discussion. So, at this time, we will be entering into executive session. You feel free to stay if you wish. We understand if you're gone when we get back, we thank you for coming.
I'll make that motion to enter executive session.
Any
Campbell,
second,
Do you need a roll?
roll call?
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mrs. DeCapua?
Yes. 5, and we are coming back from executive session.
I'll make a motion, oh, sorry,
Well,
I was jumping the gun, I got so excited.
Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
There is a motion to adjourn, and I shall make it.
Is there a second?
Yes, Campbell seconds.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.